Biafra, superstars, media.
My fellow Biafrans, I welcome you all to the presentation of the Prime Minister of the Biafra Republic Government in Exile, His Excellency ESN Ekpa Simon Njoko. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Cho, for that apt submission from your end. You've actually touched everything concerning the importance of this alliance of Biafra and Ambazonia. Well, my fellow Biafrans all over the world listening, those journalists who may be seated here today listening, I want to remind our people the blockade of Biafra. The blockade of Biafra, just like Dr. Cho has submitted the borders of Biafra, is between is in the coastal part of Biafra. The blockade of Biafra, Cameroon and Nigeria used the Ambazonia border. And so our people must understand that having studied the mistake of the Biafran people in the past, having studied how Nigeria were able, with their counterpart, the Britain, were able to starve our people to death, especially our children, during the genocidal war. It is of utmost importance that Biafra of today block every loopholes. What we see as the mistake of our past heroes shall and can never ever repeat itself again. And I will assure Biafra people today, Alliance of the Biafra Ambazonia has addressed the issue of blockade. It can never ever happen again. That is number one. Number two, looking at, I will not go into addressing what Cho have said because he has actually virtually touched the main issues on that report. But what the Biafran people and Ambazonia must understand as well is that the war against Biafra is Nigeria, and the war against Ambazonia people must be fought. Sorry for that. So
welcome back.
Welcome back. Thank you very much.
You were muted. In case you have said something that we didn't get you may rephrase from where you stopped, please.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you. So the war that the Nigeria Islamic State and that of Cameroon has brought on both nations is not a war that should be ignored. It is a war that must be fought with this alliance. And like they actually captured in the report, and quote, both nations looking for a safe haven. But where they got it wrong was that this safe haven is capable of destabilizing the region. That is a very wrong narrative from the ICG. They should have ought to know who is destabilizing this region. Is it the Biafra government? Is it the Ambazonia governing council? The answer is no. Our alliances will rather safeguard our people, give us the leverage to use both territory for the best interest of our people and our nation. And at the same time, to defend our women and our children, sharing intelligence, including on security. And that is actually what could bring a solution to already destabilized region. The region is already destabilized. And as a result of the destabilization of this region, that gave birth to the agitation for independence of Ambazonia. The same destabilization, killings, genocide led to the agitation for the independent state of Biafra. So how could it be that those fighting for survival, fighting for self-preservation, will become those that would destabilize the region? That is a narrative that must be corrected. At the same time, I am not actually bothered by what anybody writes these days, because we know most of these organizations who fund them, no matter how they pretend to be neutral. We also know whom interests they always write to protect, no matter how neutral they claim to be. In a country where the military, who ought to be protecting the territorial integrity of such country if it actually exists, are the one killing children, killing women, just what Hamas did to Israel. And somebody will wake up, pick up a pen, do a research, and his or her finding is that the alliances will further destabilize the region. And so I will use this opportunity to address the fact that the Biafra alliance will not and will never destabilize the region. Rather, the alliance of Biafra and Ambazonia will only be the solution for the already destabilized region, which is being funded by the Islamic State. And we have been able to find the solution to the problem. And we are applying it. The policies and the measures we are taking today has proven that indeed the hope of the millions of the Amazonians and millions of Biafrans lies on our boat government. And there is something I would like to tell to Biafran people today, and those who care to know. For those asking us to take a model from other freedom fighters, or from those who have succeeded in the past, I have this to tell them today. I may not have said this anywhere. We are not taking any model from anybody. We are not taking any model from Mandela. We are not taking any model from Gandhi. We are not taking any model from Martin Luther King Jr. We are not taking any model from anybody. The reason being that we will solve our own problem in our own way. Gandhi solved the Indian problem in Indian way. Mandela solved the South African problem, apartheid problem, in their own way. Martin Luther in America also followed what he believed would work for them in America. That does not mean it is going to work for Ambazonia. That does not mean it is going to work for Biafra. And you do not expect me to go on hunger strike like Gandhi did in order to register my grievances and disapproval of the killings by the Nigerian state. Nigeria will be happy that I'm on hunger strike. They think that they may even pray that the hunger will kill me so that they will be able to overrun our people. Is that the kind of Gandhi? Is that the kind of a system somebody would like me to take to go on hunger strike? Nigeria will be celebrating. We are designing and following our own history, the history that we believe that we are creating for the freedom of our people. What is going to work for us, not those that other people have used and they work for them. Nigeria is a complex entity, a complex Islamic state that needed a complex solution. And that's why most of the actions we are taking today, a lot of people can never understand it. But the result is what is speaking for itself. The report from the ICG, as we commend them for bringing the alliance of Biafra and Ambazonia to the international level, we also will not be so cheap to accept everything that was written there. And I am even surprised that this particular statement is coming from them so fast, so quick, because we've not even implemented the Biafra Ambazonia alliances policies to the fullest. Because by the time that implementation starts coming in, believe me, Cameroon will understand that this is not business as usual. Nigeria will also understand that this is not 1967 and 1970. The Ambazonia and Biafra alliance has come to stay for only one thing and nothing else: the interests, best interest of both nations, for the survival of the Ambazonia people, for the survival of the Biafra people. We have been able to seal the borders to make sure that anytime Cameroon comes to kill, they will be eliminated. Anytime Nigeria comes to kill, they will also be decimated. That is what all this alliance is all about. Making sure our women and children are not getting killed like chicken in the past, like they killed them in the past. And nobody talks. Making sure that we create the enabling environment to have supplies of arms, sharing of intelligence, making sure that we provide the necessary environment for the armies that are fighting the enemy of our people. So, my fellow Biafran Ambazonian, you must understand that this is the beginning of a history. It may sound like a joke to many, but believe me, the history is what we have to create by ourselves. It is what we create that the people will talk about. It is how we create our own history, our own freedom is the way the world will see us. We will not allow anybody to write our history, write what we intend, our intention of becoming alliance nation, recognizing each other, what the intention is and what the intention would be. We have to dictate how the enemies will talk about us, not them writing our history and our story. So as I am applauding the ICG for recognizing the fact that Ambazonia Biafra Alliance is not to be taken as a joke, at the same time, I am faulting them for misrepresenting the intention of the alliance. The intention of the alliance is to safeguard both territory, to make sure that our women and children are safe and are not living in IDP camps as being orchestrated by both terrorist countries. And that particular reason and agenda leading to this alliance has been achieved to a certain degree. Like I have said in the past, and I have mentioned here today, we have devised a means to fight the both nations independent in our own way. That is very, very peculiar. That can never be the same with what any other nation have done. They will write our own history, what we asked them and what we did, not what other people did. Nigeria as an Islamic state has committed crimes against humanity in Biafra land, and nobody has condemned them. The same thing is happening in Ambazonia. Nobody has condemned them. In the first place, the ICG should have focused on calling on the AU to call Yaoundé to order and Abuja to order to stop killing Biafrans and Yaoundé to stop killing Ambazonians. That should have been more understandable if the ICG focused this particular analysis from this context. We are the victims, and we remain the victim. The ICG should have called on African Union to call Cameroon to order. The ICG should have called Nigeria, Islamic State of Nigeria, to call the AU, to call the Islamic State of Nigeria to order. Not to discuss about the Biafra and Ambazonia alliance. And let me tell you, they will fail. Because where they think that we are stopping is when we are starting. This alliance will make sure that we ruthlessly protect our land, protect our women and our children and our properties. And anybody who crosses our land will die. Enough is enough. I don't know if Dr. Cho is back, but remember that the Biafra next convention is coming up this year, and Amazonia and Biafra will again shock the world on our next phase in Finland. The leader of Hamas is in Nigeria. It is not a rocket science. I have said it severally that Nigeria will be the biggest threat to the West. Nigeria will be the biggest threat to America. And like we have said in the past, what these terrorists are looking for is a safe haven in Nigeria where they will use our natural resources to start attacking the West. This should be the issue that should bother everybody. How to stop Nigeria becoming a threat in the next 5 years. It is only Biafra that will make it possible. It is only Ambazonia that will make it possible. These two nations will emerge in West Africa to put a stop to the upsurge of terrorists. As Africa stands today, especially in the West Africa, it is only Ambazonia and Biafra that will be able to checkmate this upsurge of terrorist activities within the Sahel region. So the world needs Ambazonia and Biafra like never before, like no other nation. And Dr. Cho have just informed me that he is having problem signing in into the space, and that is very strange. He has just informed me that the page is telling him that the page cannot be found. That is very, very strange. I will have to send the link again to him to see if he's going to come back. And as we wait for Dr. Cho, I will have the opportunity, and some of you will be privileged to ask a few questions before I leave.
Thank you, our Prime Minister. Thank you, my Prime Minister. Fellow Biafrans and Ambazonians, there you have it. This is the speech of our Prime Minister, Mazi Ekpa Simon Onjaku. I shall return in the next few hours to also upload the presentation of Dr. Ambacho. At this point, my fellow Biafrans, I want us to look inwards. You've heard from our Prime Minister, even live while doing the presentation. You saw the attack from the enemy live on air. They were being attacked through cyber attacks and the rest of them, that we had to even start a new program entirely on the X page. My fellow Biafrans, the time is now. We must start looking at the next phase of our freedom. And at this point, what I want to speak on is us making sure we go out to vote. We've been asking for this freedom for a long time. We have demanded freedom from that contraption called Nigeria since 1967. At a time when there was no internet, at a time when there was no press freedom, at a time when the might of Britain could be felt in Nigeria because of their economic interest in Nigeria. You saw the attack, you saw the mayhem, you saw the havoc, you saw the genocide being met by the Biafrans during the Biafran War. We are saying never again, but we must call a spade a spade. We saw the handiwork of Britain. We saw the policy of introducing food blockade at the time of war. Mind you, there is a war between Russia and Ukraine, but there is still a free flow of food due to the mutual respect you have for human beings and for the respect you have for life and for women and children. There must be a constant flow of food. But in the case of the Biafran War, what is so funny is the so-called, they call it the civil war, which means within a country, there is a conflict. It is shocking that it is your own same so-called one Nigerianist that came with a policy to make sure there is blockade in the land. And one of the main side effects of a food blockade means there will be total hardship and there will be lack of food in the land. When you say there is lack of food, it means there will be no access for food for children, women, pregnant women, the sick, the poor, the vulnerable, and the likes. We saw in the street more than 7 million children affected with kwashiorkor, an ailment that occurs due to the lack of nutrition from the food. From an eyewitness account of what happened during the time of the Biafran War, was even with the supply from the Red Cross, with the basic food, which you know is either gari and your soup. We heard how even the Nigerian soldiers, they see children that have been given food by the Red Cross, and they still take those food off them, leaving them to die. When you know that the number one commandment in war is there should be no women and no kids, you must respect the women and the kids because they are the most vulnerable in a time of war. My fellow Biafrans, at this time I am saying enough is enough. The days of dilly-dallying is gone. The days of assuming that you are fighting for your freedom from a people who loves you is gone, because if they can do a food blockade to watch a people to go hungry, to watch the sick to go hungry, to watch the poor, the children, the women, the pregnant, the civilized, and the most vulnerable in the land to go hungry, that tells me those people don't love you. They don't see you as one nation, which is why they will come up with a policy like that at a time of war. You claim you are one Nigeria, you claim you are one nation, but in a time of war, you came with a policy of food blockade in the land to create famine and hunger. And you want us to love you, you want us to respect you, you want us to see you as one nation? You are a joker. The hate I have for Nigeria is even more than the hate I have for the so-called devil or Lucifer in your Bible. That's to show you how far we've taken it. We are saying never again are we going to have anything to do with that entity called Nigeria. We have no more relationship with Nigeria. As for me and my household, I have no more rapport whatsoever, no more connection with that entity called Nigeria. And for those saying God bless Nigeria, I'm saying God damn Nigeria for the evil they have met on our people. A contraption created by Britain, a contraption created by Lord Lugard and his girlfriend, his prostitute girlfriend, his concubine, known as Flora Shaw. And you want us, the Biafrans, to accept a strange name from a strange people. Your colonizers, your slave master came to your land. They overpowered you and they made you a people. They made you a so-called country. All because of, in the name of business. They came for your resources. They came to steal your resource from the land. And in the end, when you are rising up, they told a people, they told the Fulani cabal, they were born to rule that zoo called Nigeria. And some idiots, some fools, the deaf, the dumb, and the blind, those I call the 95%, the deaf, the dumb, and the blind, they want to live and die for Nigeria. You claim to be a soldier for Nigeria. A country that will not even pay your wife your gratuity, or even when you die, there is no compensation, there is no payment of insurance for your family. But you are carrying a gun for Nigeria to kill the people of Biafra. We are saying enough is enough. Enough of that nonsense. Enough of that madness. To the Yorubas, I'm calling upon you today, or for the past few months, I've been calling upon you. To the tribe known as the Yorubas, to the race known as the Yoruba. You pride yourself to say you are everywhere around the whole world. You are in Cuba, you are in Brazil, you are in Venezuela, you are in Mexico. These are the things you say about yourselves. But you are allowing a common tribe, a dirty looking tribe, men beneath you when it comes to education. You allow the Fulani tribe, a cabal, to control you, to subjugate you, to turn you slaves in your own land. That you have left your dignity in your Yoruba land and you are praising what you have in Cuba, what you have in Brazil and Mexico. You are speaking about what you have in Togo, and you forget your own land, the land given to you by God, known as the Yoruba nation, the land of Oduduwa. You are dilly-dallying, doing hanky-panky. You claim you are doing politics with the caliphate. Despite you know what they did to your parents, you knew what they did to your forefathers, the man they call Afonja, you knew how they treated them, Chief MQ Abiola, you knew how they killed him in prison. And you are here saying you are doing politics with those who are murdering your people. It beats my imagination. You claim to be educated, for crying out loud. Is that how your education looks like? Is that what you call education from your tribe? It beats my imagination sometimes. I wonder, those who pride themselves to be well educated, can't you see your land is going? What the hell are you doing with those people? A people coming to steal your land, coming to take over your resources. You saw what happened in Ibadan. A great cultural heritage of the Yoruba people. When it comes to Ibadan, we know the deep-rooted culture you have in that city. Yet the Fulani oligarchs, they gave a contract to a foreigner from Mali. They gave him a contract to come to your land and mine your resources without your own permission. They were stealing gold way back since 2015 when Buhari was in power. They stole your resources, they sold your resources, and they kept the money. You said nothing because you believed in politics. And before your eyes, the explosives were left in a residential home. Bombs and explosives. Mining grenades, rock-propelled grenades left in a residential home. You saw the mayhem that happened in Ibadan. The bombing of a whole street. Lives were lost. And your governor, Sheyi Makinde, whatever his name is, he came out and lied to say, oh, what happened was illegal mining. You've been turned to cowards. You've been relegated to henchmen. You are now scared of the caliphate. You cannot speak truth to power. You can't say the things the way it is. Today we are calling upon you. Look at us, the Biafrans. Look at the way we are going. If you are well educated, you will know this is the right trajectory to follow. That zoo called Nigeria is going down. The Nigeria you know today, you shall know no more. You see the economic hardship. You see the poverty in the land. You see the hunger in the land. You see the economy is going down, is being strangulated by the policies of the Biafrans. And you're still believing in politics. You claim you are doing politics with the Fulani cabal. Lord have mercy. At this point, my dear friends, I want to say rejoice. Permit me on going on this rant because sometimes they say from the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaketh. It beats my imagination that those we call our neighbors, they are still dilly-dallying in this movement. But our other side of the neighbors, our faraway neighbors, the Ambazonians, they understand the memo, they get the message, and they are now in alliance publicly with us. That's what I was expecting from the Yorubas. With all due respect. The door is still open. That door for the alliance is still open. There is still a window of opportunity to come together. Let us join hands and solve this problem once and for all. What are you waiting for? What is the thing that you love about that Nigeria? Is it the oil from the Biafran land? We've told you we don't care about that oil. When you get your freedom, when we have our own freedom and independence, we can trade according to the fair, rate. where all your demands are met. If it's petroleum you need, if it's diesel, gas, whatever you need, you will have them according to the international price and according to you dealing with a neighbor. You know, there's some benefits you will get. They call it the fringe benefits. Fringe benefits for dealing with a neighbor. There are still some, you know, some understandings throughout will be there, some MOU. Some mutual understanding that we'll have because we know where we came from. We know our journey. We know how we left that zoo called Nigeria. So today, I want to encourage the Yorubas. You've listened to the presentation of our Prime Minister. You've heard him speak. And we are calling upon you to rethink and reconsider for all that is good. Because I know the moment we have you on board, that thing called Nigeria will go down quicker. The quicker we have the Yorubas on board, the quicker Nigeria will go down because they are like the glue that is holding Nigeria together. They are the ones that the cabal will run to after they've dealt with us, after they've stolen our land. When we want to fight back, they run to the Yorubas and they do their politics. They do their politics. Very, very sad. So at this point, my fellow Biafrans, I want you all to rejoice. Those from the Ambazonia, it is a time for us to rejoice, remain resolute, remain focused on the goal, on the task at hand. I want to say all eyes on the sun. Our Prime Minister has said going forward, the new slogan, the new mantra should be all eyes on the sun, which is the rising sun. The days of saying all eyes on the ball is gone. Going forward, it is all eyes on the sun because we are children of the sun. So I want to thank you all. I want to appreciate you. And I want to encourage you all to remain resolute in this liberation. We shall be free, no doubt about it. We shall be free. This freedom is coming. Our freedom is here. But sometimes, as an elder brother, it is good for you to speak to your neighbors, to show you are a good neighbor. You speak to your neighbors. You alert them to know what is coming. There is fire up in the mountain. Back in the days when you used to live in the hills, when there is fire up in the mountain, you have to run because if the fire should come out as lavas, it runs down the mountain, it runs down the hills and consumes those who are still living up the hill. I rest my case. From me, from here, for now, I want to say good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. I remain Biafra Superstars Media. Watch out for the next broadcast by the Ambazonia leader, Dr. Cho Ayaba. Thank you very much and God bless you. Bye-bye.
Yeah, check me out. Superstars Media. Lord Logan, Bloomington, Lord Logan, and it's Wild Flora Show. 1914 amalgamation is what we dying for. 3 nations to 1 nation. Ever since annihilation, nepotism is nonsense. You and you, clap your hands. Biafra gonna come, clap your hands. Biafra, Odudua, we're free now. Freedom is gonna come, we're free now. Yeah.